Welcome back to Melodic Memories of LIGHTSMONARCH. I'm Casey, here just kind of to talk about myself today. I know in my last podcast episode, I went over my most recent trip out to Calgary just to go see In This Moment, Ice Nine Kills, Avatar TX2, all in the Kiss of Death tour too. And it was a great time, I gotta say. As I said in there, I went in depth. If anyone cares to hear about it, I went in depth in my last episode. And also have been posting some live video that I ended up recording while being there on my TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the socials. They're in my link tree. Be sure to go check it out. Should be in the description of this episode. And that way you can, stay in contact with me. We can chat a little bit. But besides the point, I wanted to talk about some more to do about me. Just kind of give you guys an idea who I am more so than just my intro episode for what I wanted the podcast to be. In saying that, though, I just made it home. I actually got to see my mom and my little sister, and my grandma ended up being there. Complete coincidence. I didn't even know she was going to be there, but it was nice to see everyone. I went out to the PCBRA finals, where my mom and little sister, they barrel race. It's a barrel racing final. They want to win their belt buckles and their saddles for their horses, and power to them. It's their thing. I grew up in a rodeo family, so was something I used to do, not barrel racing itself, but bull riding. And I know rodeo itself is a little controversial, thought of as like a really old kind of thing to do. It's just something that's always been a part of my life, and the whole farm life, rodeo life, it's something that is a part of me, even if it's not something that I fully do anymore or even show in the way I dress or anything like that. I've grown my own tastes and my own passions, if you will. But I made it home from that finals where my mom ended up running a 16.649, which is crazy for her. Huge, honestly, I think that's probably the fastest I've ever seen her go. And my little sister, she got a 15.737. Seconds, mind you, for those of you that don't know. They do a barrel run, a barrel pattern, and after they run around the first barrel, the second barrel, and then the third, which is set up in like a triangle pattern. Look it up if you need the visual. But they ended up doing pretty good. Has another day on it on Sunday. I was going to say tomorrow, but you guys are going to be hearing this on Monday anyways. So here's hoping they can push through. Cheer for my mom and sister for me. Would very much appreciate it. In saying that, though, my little sister, she got a new dog. I was incredibly jealous when I seen her. Such a cute dog. Probably one of the cutest dogs I've ever seen. Just a little puppy still. I don't even think it was a couple months old at this point. Probably just old enough to be able to be away from its mom. And it was adorable. It's a cowboy corgi. Oh my god, different colored eyes, and it was all white with some speckles and spots. It'll be on my socials. I took some photos. Of course, I'm going to share. Such a cute dog, and I'm happy for her because she bought it with her boyfriend. Here's hoping that works out. I know that they're still pretty new in their relationship, but gotta hope for love. I'm a big advocate for love and knowing that it exists, just to never give up on it, even though some people do, and it's really sad to see. So if I can leave everyone with one thing today from this podcast, don't give up on love. It'll come eventually. It'll come when it's ready to, and when you're ready, when you're not even expecting it. In any sense, though, to not ramble on and sound like I'm some messiah, the dog, her name was Ella, just a cute little girl, adorable little thing, so tiny, made to look even smaller, to be honest, from being around all of the horses. But it was a good weekend. Had an amazing time with them, got to see them, and just experience some stuff that I haven't gotten to experience in a while because I don't live around there anymore and I don't do those things anymore. Like I said, I used to bull ride, and I remember bull riding quite fondly. It's something that was crazy to do, but I did it, and it was fun for what it was. But the biggest thing for me that I really loved about it was just the adrenaline, the getting pumped up to your favorite music, your favorite songs. Because they would have rock music playing usually during the bull ridings around over the speakers. I remember sitting behind the chutes when I used to bull ride, and even though they would have the music going over the speakers, I'd just have my earbuds in and listen to actually, I think it was Black Veil. Can't remember exactly the song. I do remember though Stolen Omen, The Legacy, and Unbroken from the Avengers soundtrack. Those ones were bangers that got me pretty pumped. Same with Victory Call, I believe. Those ones were the ones that I'd have kind of on repeat just to get myself pumped up before I'd nod my head and get out there and actually go on the bull. But enough rambling about that, my rodeo life, something that I'm definitely far removed from just from my own personal life now. I've just kind of grown out of the whole thing, helped with moving away, and it's something that I can look back on fondly with some nostalgia nowadays without even realizing that it's been so long. It was a good day, though, all things considered. To transition a little bit, though, into me growing up on said farm, I grew up around a lot of music. It was always whenever people would have a birthday and we'd end up having different get togethers, any sort of reason to have a campfire living out at the farm, there would be my Uncle Trevor who would always bring out his guitar. And it's a shame to say that he doesn't anymore, not very much at least. And obviously, everyone's older. We don't even do these things half as much as we used to. But it's something that I do remember quite fondly. And those memories I feel will live on forever. It's actually an inspiration of mine. Not going to lie, to just be able to someday record them playing before it's too late. Obviously, fingers crossed, you never know what life can bring. But obviously, you hope that there's a lot more time left. But I'm also realistic in saying that and know that one day there won't be. And you got to try to make the most of it. Kind of like with Black Veil Brides in their first record, how Andy got to record his grandfather and kind of capture his voice forever. I would love to be able to do that for my stepdad and his brother, my uncle. It would be lovely because they're songs that I grew up with and that they would play all the time for me and my family and siblings, and it was just a big event. And I can't remember exactly what songs they would play, but there is one specific one that is considered to be my sister's song that my stepdad plays for her. Texas in 1880. I can't remember the original artist, but if you look it up on Spotify, there's a couple versions. That song means a lot to me just from being able to see the connection it brings the two of them. And again, music, beautiful. It's all about the connection that music brings, and it connects them together, daughter and father, on an even deeper level. And it's beautiful to actually step back and see it for yourself. But aside from all of that, something for me specifically, I do remember growing up and, living on the farm. I never enjoyed it as a kid. I can look back with nostalgia now for sure and appreciation for how I grew up, because I know I wouldn't be half the person I am today if it wasn't for exactly how I grew up. And I don't give, all the credit to that. I know I put a lot of work into myself and finding out who I am and what that means to me. But growing up, I would always play video games. That was my big thing. I would try to hide away and to be able to miss out on doing chores or to, because you're downstairs with the family at the kitchen table, whatever, you're most likely going to be told to do something rather than just relax or chill inside because, one, being on a farm, you're told to go play outside most of the time. But if it's not for playing, it's to do work because there's always work to do on the farm. It never really ends. And that's something that people don't realize. Farm work is fucking hard, but it also creates, I don't know, it's hard work that's very rewarding is what I'm trying to say. But as a kid, I didn't understand that concept. I didn't care. I didn't want to do it. It was just ruthless, brutal. I hated it. But I can definitely find acceptance and actually appreciate that I had to do things and learn things so I'm not completely useless in my adult life. Because there's a lot of things that I've learned that some people just don't know. How to use ratchet straps. A lot of people that oblivious. Different things like that. There's a lot more, of course, driving in shitty conditions like blizzards and all that stuff. And, you got to get to where you need to go being out of town. And there's a lot of things that I learned on the farm, but I didn't really appreciate them until I got a little bit older. And now that I am a little bit older, to look back on it, I'm thankful for it. But again, to go back to when I was a kid, I would sit inside, play video games, and one of the big video games for me was, and still is to this day, can't even say was, because I'm still a huge fan. It's one of the, I'd say, building blocks of who I am. That's probably the best way to put it. And it's Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is something that means the world to me. It's a video game franchise. It started back in like 2002 with Square Enix, Disney, Tetsuya Nomura. They met in an elevator, he pitched it, and the rest is history. There's a lot more to it than just that. Those are just basic points, of course, but all the same, Kingdom Hearts is something that means the world to me. It's something that really captures everything I love. I ended up finding it at a movie store, of all things, if people remember what that is. Kind of like Blockbuster, but being in a small town, we didn't have Blockbuster. It was only something akin to it. Anyways, I remembered renting it, and with the whole kind of idea and purpose of renting it was to play a Disney golf game that I ended up trying at one point because I rented it maybe like a week or two before. And I never had access to the movie store very often. It was only when I stayed with my dad, because growing up with separated parents, you get, the way that it worked for me, at least. I know it's different for everyone, but I ended up going over to my dad's every weekend, and unless if it was summertime, where I would spend half of it with him, half of it at my mom's. But on the weekends, I ended up going to see my dad and spending time with him, and in doing so, he lived in town instead of on a farm, and that's when I got to use the movie store the most, rent movies, rent games, and there was a PS2 game, a Disney golf game. Can't remember the name of it. It might as well just been Disney Golf. But little kid me, I was probably like 8 years old at this point, didn't know. I chalk it up to just child stupidity. Granted, my stupidity. And I thought Kingdom Hearts 2, just based on the fact that it had Mickey Mouse and Donald and Goofy on the cover, I thought that's what it was. I thought it was a Disney golf game called Kingdom Hearts, because I didn't even realize there was a 2 a part of it, because it's a part of the logo behind the words. And again, little kid me, absolute idiot, didn't realize it. So when I booted it up in my PS2 and it first started, and the initial chime, the initial ding ding of Dearly Beloved, because you hear like the waves washing it, like it's something that I think about with so much nostalgia, just basking in the music. Because that title screen, Dearly Beloved, oh my god, that's honestly, as cheesy as it sounds to say, that was the moment. That was the moment I remember the most fondly, of just starting the game up purely and being like, what is this? A golf game has this? Because it was just something that I never noticed. I loved music for sure, but I've never heard anything just purely instrumental. And even if I have through other video games, it was never anything like that. Yoko Shimomura, holy hell, can she work the keys. She is an amazing artist, and I know she might not be the one actually playing the instruments, but she writes and composes it, right? So absolutely insane to get into that and then press a new game and not understand that it wasn't a golf game yet, because I had my doubts. At that point, I had my doubts, but when it actually started, I was like, no way this is the same game, because it goes into Utada Hikaru's Sanctuary, and that's really where everything changed. Like, I know I said Dearly Beloved, but realistically, it stood out to me. But then when I got to hear Sanctuary, I swear that is really what started the whole love for emo music, or just music in general, because oh my god, that's also something that was completely polarizing and something I would have never ever heard in normal life if it wasn't for playing Kingdom Hearts 2. by complete accident. If I was to be honest, Kingdom Hearts 2 just made me feel like I was a part of something so much bigger. Feels right to say that Kingdom Hearts 2 had influence on an entire generation. And I don't think that is wrong to say in any way, because I know not everyone played it. Kingdom Hearts isn't a universally massive game, or at least wasn't then and is more so now. But for the ones that played it, they know. Like me, I know, they know. It's a franchise, and specifically Kingdom Hearts 2, a game that I would like everyone to try. I know that you're supposed to start with Kingdom Hearts 1, and definitely, if you can manage it, do it. But if you don't like Kingdom Hearts 1 just purely for the controls, skip it. You might be lost, completely lost, on the story if you don't watch any YouTube videos of like a recap of Kingdom Hearts 1, which I would also recommend at the very least. But give Kingdom Hearts 2 a try, because it's combat, it's gameplay, everything to do with it is amazing, and that boils down to the music as well. It's crazy. So many of these themes are themes that still live in my mind rent free, just in their sound. And I even had one for the longest time be my alarm. Like, that's how much it means to me. It's ingrained in me. And it's crazy to think that that's kind of how the concept of Kingdom Hearts started. Because yes, it was thrown as an elevator pitch, and that's how it got greenlit. But you got to think back to Nomura and his initial thoughts. I remember reading, I can't remember where I remember reading this, but it was actual information and not something I'm just pulling out of my ass. He ended up hearing Yoko Shimomura and her song Destai, and that is the inspiration for the story of Kingdom Hearts. The way that it sounds, the way that it makes you feel. Again, music being pure feeling. That's what started it all. And it's crazy to think that just a piece of music gave this man, I know not the entire idea for what the series is known to be now, but that initial point, that's what started it. And it just warms my heart as a music lover and an enjoyer to know that. And he ran with it. So if any of you listening to this podcast has music, be it instrumental or with lyrics, and it makes you feel something, and it promotes you to be like, see a story of your own in your own mind, something, be it a painting, a visual, a story, like storyline, like for Nomura, chase it. Don't let it go, because inspiration strikes so rarely for people. Take what you get and run with it. And never be closed-minded. Always stay open-minded, because otherwise you're going to just draw yourself into a corner, and where are you going to go from there? There's nowhere to go aside from becoming open-minded, and it opens so many doors. Anyways, hopefully that made sense. But for Kingdom Hearts being so inspirational and important to me, I just wanted to kind of like chat about that a little bit, because it is one of my absolute favorite things, and I would love to hear what you all think about Kingdom Hearts if you've ever heard of it before. Or if you haven't and you get a chance to play it, like, do so. I want to know, I want to hear about it, because it's a game that drives my passion, and it's something that I don't think anything will ever capture quite as well, because it involves music and just video games, Disney, everything that I love, and the whole storyline. I know it's controversial to say that it's amazing, but I will say it. They are some of the most enjoyable games that I've ever played. And I would recommend them to almost anyone if they still have any light of their childhood left inside of them, because they do deal with adult themes for sure. There are some things in the games that definitely you have to be a little bit more mature to even understand, but they're able to be played by any and all age. So give it a shot if you can. And to touch on the music at least one last time, it adds such an intensity to the gameplay, be it when you're mid-combat, be it when you're just walking around the worlds. Like, in combat it brings intensity, and then in the moments when you're not in combat, it really creates atmosphere. And you know exactly when you hear the song what world you're supposed to be in, what you're supposed to feel. That's something Kingdom Hearts does amazing with its instrumental tracks and just making the listener feel. Like when it's a world theme or a character theme, specifically Shion. Oh my god. She's probably the one character with the best music in the whole series. Vector to the Heavens. I believe that's the name of the song. Go listen to it. Please, please go listen to it and let me know what you think on my socials, because that song, it's so emotional. It drives, it builds, and it makes you want to cry. Like, it's so sad. And that's without even knowing the story, I can say that, because I've had friends listen to it and they're like, that was incredible. And it leaves them feeling. You don't even need to know that it's for a character. You just know that it's something tragic and something very sad. And it makes you feel those emotions. And that's one of the things with Kingdom Hearts and many other things, like my favorite show ever, Steven Universe, which I'll get into here soon. It makes you feel something, and that's what's most important. It is art at the end of the day. And that art is beautiful, and I hope that it inspires other people as it has inspired me. And to say last little bit on Kingdom Hearts, I have platinumed all the games. Just a little flex. Also defeated Yuzora and got all the pro code achievements or marks, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, I did everything. Everything you can do in Kingdom Hearts on PlayStation, I've done it. PS3, PS4, all done. Just wanted to put that out there for anyone listening that might enjoy Kingdom Hearts. It's a challenge, but it's so enjoyable. But now, as I mentioned, Steven Universe, that is a Cartoon Network show. Came out 2013, or maybe even sooner, maybe a little bit sooner than that. But it's a Cartoon Network show, I should say, because it ran for 5 seasons and then got off air. It had a movie, got a sequel series, which was only 1 season long, and the original series itself, along with the movie, which is a damn musical, it's amazing. I can't touch on it too much with fear of spoilers, because my roommates, at least one of them, listens to this podcast. Hello, Logan. And I don't want to spoil what Steven Universe, the movie, has to offer, along with the future series, so I'm only going to focus on the original series, which is what I found around the time watching Skyward Wing. He's another content creator. And at the time, he was streaming. And when he was streaming, he was talking about Steven Universe and how good it was and how Season 3 is right around the corner. And it made me wonder, it's like, well, if I'm behind 2 seasons, should I check it out? Because he's gushing about it, right? So, and he's someone that I looked up to, a creator that I really looked up to, and still watch to this day, actually, funnily enough. I've been around since he actually started his first... It was the Kingdom Hearts Jafar fight or something like that. Before he had live audio recording. Anyways, besides the point. He inspired me to actually go check it out because I asked him in the chat, and he actually read my comment out, which was crazy for me at the time. I was like, holy shit. Little kid me, mind blown, shitting bricks. And he said, go check it out. Regardless of how far behind you are, you won't regret it. And I did just that. I went and checked it out alongside Rick and Morty, because he also talked about that, and that was before Rick and Morty blew up. It was only 2 seasons in. I think the second season just finished airing at the time, which is crazy to think, because Rick and Morty is a beast of its own now. There's a lot to talk about with that, and I'm not even about to get into it because it's a mixed bag there. But with Steven Universe, I remember watching it and thinking it was just incredibly cute. I was like, wow, I've never seen something so cute. I love this. Like, what? Like, I was hooked almost right off the bat. As soon as Cookie Cat, the song, started playing, I loved it. Steven's little song about his ice cream sandwich, it was so pure and so genuine, and I just adored it. It was the cutest show I had ever seen. And then you continue watching it, and it's always remained to be cute. It has the art style that is cute, and it has characters that are cute. But when it starts to introduce this depth to everything, and the music reflects all of it, that it's something's fucked up here, something's wrong, and something evil might be occurring. Like, you hear it in the music notes, in the cues. And it's something that's a little bit hard to explain, but when you listen to a piece of music from the very beginning, where it's joyful and it's innocent and it reflects Steven being only like 12 years old, to then Sorry if that's wrong, by the way. He's young. Uh, but then to go on to further in the series where it gets really intense, the music reflects all of it. Especially looking at the homeworld gems and gems in general, the kindergarten, like this barren kind of solemn sound, or else it's very digital and frantic, and they're just amazing cues. And I'm talking about the instrumentals, not even the actual music that drives the plot, because Steven Universe in itself is something that music is at its core. It, just like the movie, is a musical almost in itself, where when there is a song that a character will actually sing, usually Steven with his ukulele, it's with the purpose to drive the plot. Anything really important that happens through song. And that's something I appreciate about Steven Universe so much, because it makes it that much more memorable. Granted, I know there's people that don't like musicals at all. That's okay. But Steven Universe, they sing their songs. It's like a mini little musical, a little segment. And it adds so much more intensity, so much more memorability to it. Like, you think about the end of season one of the most iconic moments that I think everyone that has heard about Steven Universe has at least seen clips of, because it was actually memed and created parodies of, was Stronger Than You. It's the end of season one, where a big battle happens, the big end of season one, the finale, and that's the song for it. And it's so memorable that it actually is something that stands out, rather than, oh, the season's over. Like, that left an impact and made people like, holy shit, this isn't just a kid's show. There is something more here. And I can appreciate when a show that on the base level you look at it and you're like, oh, it's a kid's show, can't be that deep. And then it just throws you a curveball and smacks you right in the fucking face. And it's like, no, don't judge a book by its cover. Everything that is worth anything has a little bit of depth at the very least. And Steven Universe is definitely one of those things that draws all of it and all of its creativity from music. And I can't stress how much I love that fact and how much it means to me to just know that it's such an expression that even the characters on my favorite show, that's how they express themselves. And that's, I don't know, it's kind of formed me in a sense to know that it is such an expressive way to just be like, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I mean. This is who I am. It's music. And I just love it for that. But before I kind of get into the end of the podcast here, I just wanted to again say thank you for listening and supporting. I've seen I have a few listeners here and there. One person in Sweden that's listened to all 3 episodes. Shout out to you. Thank you. Love to have you along with anyone else. If anyone listening wants to talk about some music, follow me on my socials, reach out. I will answer. And if anyone wants a makeup discount, go to Curse Cosmetics. They have a lot of great choices, along with a Black Veil Brides palette set and some other band collaborations coming out and some that are already out. Go give them a look. They have amazing choices. Use the code LIGHTSMONARCH, all caps, no spaces, at checkout to get 10% off your order. And, you know, it helps you, it helps me spread the word. I would love to hear everything you guys have to say. So lastly, I just kind of wanted to touch on some other bands that are some of my favorites. I will say definitely Black Veil. I've already talked enough about them though, so I'm not going to ramble about them. But there's some other ones like Panic at the Disco. Adore them. Paramore. Adore them. Like, all the emo ones, the Emo Trinity, or I guess Emo Trinity plus 21 Pilots. So like Panic at the Disco, MCR, Fall Out Boy, 21 Pilots, Paramore, Black Veil Brides, Motionless in White, Bad Omens, Dayseeker, Palais Royale, Valley. Like, there's there's a lot of bands out there. I could continue on the list. It's just going to get annoying, though, if I continue doing that. There's so many artists that I really love, and some artists that speak more to me in their music and in different ways, depending on how I'm feeling, what I'm going through in my life. Like, right now, with growth that I've taken in my own personal life, and finally accepting things that I always kind of left wide open, because what if? The question of what if. And I always knew that ifs aren't healthy for the mental health there. And even though I knew that well enough, I just could never bring myself to fully accept certain things and really move on with my life. There was something that I went through in my life to try to not get too deep into it today because I don't want to. I'll unbag that bag of worms at another time, but it's just something that I really. Some big moment, like the turning point, the pivotal moment where I actually knew that I lost myself and I needed to change. And in doing so, I still had all my music. And if it wasn't for my music and my close friends, they've done so much for me. So if any of you guys are listening, thank you. I love you. But there was a lot of tough times that I went through because of one moment. And music is something that was always been a driving force. And throughout all of it, it changed. It's the way that I actually expressed how I felt, because a lot of the times I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to say it. And the music said it for me. I was able to feel and heal through this music. And with finally finding that acceptance of something that happened years ago, the newest album by Valley, Water the Flowers, Pray for a Garden, is one that I've been having on repeat because that's exactly what it's about. Not exactly my situation, but just accepting that things might not always go the way you want them to. Accepting that even if you even if you have the proper means, like you mean to do well, you mean to be there, it might not always be that way. So you can do all you can, but you have to accept that some things are out of your control and accept that life continues on no matter what. So it's something that I found very inspirational, and I just wanted to share that little bit. And I will talk about some of my favorite bands here in the next couple coming episodes for sure. I do have a deep dive planned that is in the works. It's going to be probably end of September is what I'm aiming for. So keep an ear out for that one. And to kind of finish everything off, I wanted to quickly shout out some new albums, some new music that came out just this last Friday. Being Disney's new release, A Whole New Sound, literally a Disney pop goes punk album, and I am so here for it. It opens with the most over-the-top Part of Your World cover from New Found Glory. I can't even describe it, but the drummer goes ham. Absolutely ham in it. So please go give that a listen if you love Disney music. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think you're just in for a laugh because some of it is so over the top and so pop punk that it's just like, why? But I'm glad that it exists at the same time. Though nothing will ever overtake Fall Out Boy's cover of I Want to Be Like You from Love Disney. And also on top of that, Rainbow Connection with Paramore and Weezer. That one's fire. Anyways, those two are great, but A Whole New Sound, it doesn't include those two songs. They're ones that released a long time ago, but go give that one a listen if you care for Disney at all and pop punk music. I think you'll enjoy it. And the last one I kind of wanted to touch on, or last two rather, is my friend Connor. He has a band. The band is titled Violet Night. Everyone should go listen to them. They just dropped a new song called Vampire. And I gotta say, it's them finding their sound. They've really kind of nailed in and honed in on what they want to be and who they are. And I'm glad that they're finally feeling like they're making the music that they've always wanted to. And lastly, probably the biggest news that's come out in the past week, rather a couple days at this point, Linkin Park is back. Linkin Park is back. Holy shit. I never thought I would actually say those words and it be official. Linkin Park's back, and they have a new female singer, a new drummer, and the rest are returning members, and I know that there's a lot of mixed feelings about it. Trust me, I'm there too. I'm not a huge diehard fan of Linkin Park. I never have been. I won't lie to you and pretend to pander to people because I'm not about that. But Linkin Park's music has always been something that I have heard in the distance. It was one of my friend's favorite bands for the longest time growing up, back when I lived in Worsley. And I will say that Linkin Park coming back, this new song that they released, The Emptiness Machine, go give it a listen if you haven't, for some reason, if you're living under a rock and have not heard that Linkin Park is back. Go give their new song, The Emptiness Machine a listen. New album drops in November. Holy shit. November 15th, I believe, is the day, which is absolutely wild. I didn't think they were coming back like this. Like, I knew something was coming, but I never knew it would be something so monumental. Because that's what it is. It's a monumental occasion, momentous occasion, if you will, that Linkin Park is back with a new singer, not to replace Chester, because I really don't think that's what they were trying to do. It feels like a natural thing. And I know it sounds silly to say that because that's what everyone is going to say, even the band themselves, to try to convince people. But there's one thing to say that it's trying to convince people of that, or if they just look at it and feel it out. Feeling it out, you can feel it's natural. You can feel like they were just, hey, this works. Let's try it again. It's been enough time. It's been a long while. Like, not to disrespect Chester Bennington, rest in peace. He is one of the legends of music, and he'll never be replaced. He'll never be forgotten. But for them to move on in their musical endeavors and create something new, granted, I do think they should have changed the name or maybe, restarted. But this is what that is for them. With the title of the album being Zero, which comes out again in November, or from zero rather, it's them starting back from zero, literally. Them from ground one, the first step, and moving forward. And I'm really excited. I don't know a whole lot about anything going on with them aside from the new single, and there's been some controversy around the new singer, Emily, but she has talked about some of the allegations and some of the support that she was giving to someone I'm not going to get into, but she was going through some stuff. She kind of cleared her name about it, and there's one other thing that she needs to clear about still, but that's going to be down the line. I'm keeping an open mind. I want to enjoy this, and even if I don't enjoy it, I want to hear it and listen to what they're trying to tell us, what they're trying to experience and give us the experience of. I'm ready for it. November, here we come. Obviously, we have a long way to get to there. A lot of releases in between that we have to look forward to, and a lot of memories to make in the meantime. On that note, I've been Casey. This has been Melodic Memories of Lights Monarch. Thanks again for listening. Reach out if you want to, and thank you for discovering the music within.